Cathay's affected by the continued zero COVID policy in Hong Kong and all these crew quarantine issues. It has a very small fraction of capacity that they were even operating before these latest cuts, while Singapore Airlines keeps on adding capacity. It's going to be close to 50% of pre-COVID capacity in this holiday season and into next month. So very different stories. Obviously, Singapore Airlines is going to be a bit impacted by the setback on the VTLs, which is just going to further reduce their already very low load factors. Well, Cathay is, the volumes there are very low because of the Hong Kong situation and might even get lower now. So certainly things are not moving in the right direction at the moment, which is very disappointing because it's been such a difficult year for Asia Pacific carriers, much worse than expected. And things look like they were starting to get better, and now unfortunately, just going the opposite direction. And it's going to be a really bad quarter, unfortunately.
I was going to say, right, just lousy timing, right? Not a great end of the year when it usually should be now, and happening when SIA is just approaching getting back to 50% of pre-COVID capacity. Lousy. Broadly, though, for travel in APAC, we are at about 10% of pre-COVID levels, and because of what's going on with the Omicron, how likely are we to stay sort of stuck there for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I mean, so things were looking up. 10% is the international figure. I mean, even just 2 months ago, we were only at 5%. So this 10% was an improvement, and things were going to continue to go up based on what things were looking like just a few weeks ago, because borders were reopening, passenger confidence was slowly rebuilding. It was still very much a hassle factor. It was still going to be a very slow recovery into next year. But now we have this setback. And so what's happening now is the holiday season is going to have less traffic. It's still an uptick than where we were a couple of months ago, because a lot of people still want to go home to see their families and are going to put up with all these restrictions. But a lot of people who are discretionary travelers, particularly leisure travelers that are not flying for VFR or visiting friends and relatives purposes, they're going to put off their trips. They just don't have the confidence to travel right now because things are just changing every day. Requirements are becoming more burdensome. There's a lot of risk that something will happen while you're gone, making it more difficult to return. So we're basically, in a nutshell, we're going to be probably stuck at 10% levels more or less, and that might even be on the high side for the next couple of months. And that recovery we're hoping we're going to have continuing into the first half of next year is just not going to happen. Or there's going to be a setback, and it will be a while before I think the numbers pick up to again. And it's unknown, of course, when that will happen, because we don't know too much about this new variant, and we don't know what's around the corner in terms of future variants next year as well. So it's eventually things will improve, but at this point, obviously, it's just not going to happen.